Here begins week 2 quiz how-to video. It takes us through the 9-week countdown quiz. Number 1 is the graph of y equals x squared minus 2x minus 3 is shown on the right. Use this graph to find the solutions. Now, another word for the solutions are called roots, also zeros, and these zeros are x-intercepts. So if you look at the x-axis, the graph crosses the x-axis at this location and this location. So the graph tells us what the solutions are by where it crosses the x-axis. In this case, it is when the x is equal to a -1 and when the x is equal to 3. Now, does this have a max or a min? Since it goes no lower than this point, it is considered the minimum. What value is that minimum? It is the y value, which would be, in this coordinate, it is the coordinate 1, -4. Therefore, the minimum is -4. C asks us to explain how the graph of y equals x squared minus 2x is related to y equals x squared minus 2x minus 3. Notice that the -3 is the only difference. This one could be written as x squared minus 2x plus 0 if you wanted to, though you don't have to. And the difference is that y equals x squared minus 2x would look the same as this equation, except shifted up 3 units. And this right here is -3, this one is 0, and those values describe vertical shift. So in this case, it is that y equals x squared minus 2x is the same as y equals x squared minus 2x minus 3, shifted up 3 units. There we go. Number 2. The first term of a geometric progression is 5. This is considered x sub 1. And each term after the first is 7 times the previous. So if I wanted to find the second term, I would take 7 times 5. 7 times the previous number, which would give us 35. To find the third term, it says to take 7 times again the previous, which is now 35, which would give us 245. So given that x sub 1, or the first term, is 5, all of these are okay. Any letter would work, A, B, C, or D. But to find the next one, we have to write down a rule. So if the first term is 5, the next one, n plus 1, meaning the second or third or fourth one, is 7 times the previous. Or if you're looking for n plus 1, the previous one would be x sub n, meaning this little letter represents the position. So if I had n as a beginning number, the next one would be n plus 1. The one after that would be n plus 2, meaning first position, second, third, or 10th, 11th, and 12th. If I went the other way, the one before it would be n minus 1, etc. So we're not using n plus 1 to do any calculations. It's merely there to describe the position of the number, or to help us define order. So this right here tells us that we're looking for the next number in the list, and this tells us how to find it. which is to take 7 times the one before it, which in this case would be x sub m. And with that written, B would be our possible answer. Number 3 says, here is a number line displaying the range which the volume of water lies. Which inequality represents this range? Now, first of all, notice where it's centered, at 16. By taking x and subtracting 16, it shifts a point on an x-axis to the right 16 units. It sounds strange, but minus 16, when it comes to graphing, does shift a graph to the right. If I said x plus 16, it would shift it to the left 16. But it is not at negative 16, it is at positive 16. So this shifts it to 16. The less than or equal to would tell you to connect the dots so they're going together, and it also tells you to make the dots solid because of the line underneath it. So we have this much. The question is, why are the dots there? Well, the dots represent distance from the center. So if this is 16 and this is 17, then this must be 16.5. And this one must be 15.5. So it's telling us it goes 0.5 to the right and 0.5 to the left. So 0.5 is the distance from the center. Okay, so the one that best fits all those would be G. Which shape below could be a cross-section of the figure shown below? Now, a cross-section is a slice, like a slice of bread. So if you took a slice out of this, like it was some summer sausage or something like that, and you sliced it, you would not get a square, nor would you get a triangle. Now you could cut this lengthwise, which makes you think, well, I'm going to probably get this half semicircle if I cut it that way, but that's not the cross section. The cross section would be, might be hard to see, but you'd get a rectangle. That would be considered the cross section from that cut. So our only other choice would be D. Now this doesn't look like a circle though, whereas this is a circle. Well, you can slice it more at an angle, and what it does is it elongates the slice. So instead of a circle, it's an ellipse. But it still counts as a cross section. So D would be your answer. Number 5, the number of points scored by the Minnesota Timberwolves during each game of the 2004 Western Conference Finals are listed below. What is the range? Now, range represents max minus min. So the maximum number, which in this case is 98, minus the minimum number, which in this case is 85, the difference in those two represents the range, and 13 is it. So again, I could put 13 in any of these boxes as long as I fill in the numbers appropriately. I'm going to write it I'm going to put it right here, just to show you it doesn't matter as long as they're together, and I fill in the proper circles. And this would be your answer for number 5.